Good morning. It's February the 2nd, and I am going to Vancouver Island in the 1985 Eldorado, and I'm going to make a video of the adventure. So I'll be leaving Vancouver shortly and taking the ferry to Nanaimo, and then from Nanaimo drive up to Parksville, and I'm going to visit my friend John. John has a 1968 Eldorado and a few other cars, so we'll check out his cars, his Eldorado. And he has those wire wheels I bought for my 1978 Eldorado. I bought a set of wire wheels last weekend, and he picked them up from the seller. So that's the purpose of this trip for me, is to go see John, pick up the wire wheels, and check out his cars. And then I'm going to go up a little bit further up the island and check out another friend of mine. His name is Robert, Mr. Superfly. He has a collection of old Cadillacs, like really old Cadillacs, and some of them are special one-off cars. So we'll see what he has in his shop and see how he's doing, and we'll take it from there. It's going to be a Cadillac kind of day today, so I'm excited. The weather is decent. It's the sun is kind of poking through the clouds here, and no rain is forecast, which is excellent. So this is going to be the longest trip I've taken in this car since I bought it last year. I think it's fine. I don't think there's going to be any problems, but cross my fingers that everything will go a-okay. So well, on my way to Horseshoe Bay in West Vancouver, but first off, gotta grab my coffee for the drive. I'm at Horseshoe Bay Ferry Terminal. We're about to get on the ferry. The ferry is about an hour and 40-minute ride to Vancouver Island. So far, everything is good. This is my ticket. So the cost one way to get on the ferry for car and driver is $83.40, and it will be another $83 or $90 for the return. So it's not cheap to go over to Vancouver Island. It's usually, you could expect a couple $100, and also the fuel cost as well. But I'm gonna make a day out of it, make an adventure out of this trip, and really looking forward to it. Look at that gauge. This is a JDM Mini, right from Japan. So if you can see the gauge, it has the different animals for the different speeds. You have a turtle, panda, elephant, I think that's a camel, giraffe. And I don't know what that is. And I don't know what those other ones are, but it's pretty cool. Look at that. JDM Mini Cooper.
Five-star restaurant by candlelight.
So we just left the Superfly shop, heading to the ferry terminal. It is 5:15 and the next sailing is at 6:20. So I gotta hightail it over to the ferry terminal, because if I miss the 6:20 boat, the next one is not until 8:30, and I don't want to be sitting around at the ferry terminal for a couple of hours. So now it's a mad rush to get out to the ferry terminal and take it from there. 5:43, and I made it here just in time.
This is the last call for flight passengers to purchase tickets and order 555
Just telling everybody they're loading the boat, so I got here just in time. I got here just in time to make it onto this ferry to get back to Vancouver. Anyways, had a really good time. Met and saw my two good friends, John and Robert, and we had a really good conversation, good talk, checked out some cars, picked up my 17-inch wire wheels that I bought, had them in this car, 2 in the back seat, 2 in the trunk, and now I'll catch the ferry, another $83.40 for the ferry ride back to Vancouver, and it's an hour and a half. So by the time I get home, it's gonna probably be about, I guess, 9-10 o'clock by the time I get home. It's been a long day, a lot of miles put on the car, and had a good time, and so far so good. Here's a couple of the wheels in the back seat. I got 2 in the trunk. Those are for the other Eldorado. Well, it's 8:30 and 12 hours later I'm back. About 150 kilometers I put on the car. 4 hours of ferry ride there and back, and had a really good time. The 85 Eldorado performed flawlessly. I had it up to 80 miles per hour when I was catching the return ferry, because I was cutting it really close to the time, and it turns out they changed the schedule so that the boat was leaving 40 minutes earlier than I checked last night. So instead of a 6:30 sailing, they had a 5:55 sailing, and I got there at 5:45, 10 minutes before the sailing, and pretty much the last car on the boat, and they squeezed me on, and here I am. Otherwise I would have had to wait at least 2 hours on the other side to make it back to catch the next ferry. What could I say about the Eldorado? The one thing I don't like about this is on the highway, there's a lock-up torque converter. And when you're doing about 70 to 80 kilometers an hour, I guess that's about, I don't know, about 40 miles per hour, it will engage and disengage out of the lock-up torque converter. And it's very annoying. I don't like that. You know, you're in traffic, and the traffic's not moving too fast, but you're doing, you know, like 40 miles per hour, 80 kilometers an hour, and it wants to go into that lock-up torque converter mode for the fuel efficiency, but then you have to let your foot off the gas because traffic is slowing down, and it will kick back out of the lock-up torque converter mode. And that just becomes irritating, annoying to me when you're traveling in that speed, and there's, you know, traffic in the way. It's fine once you get going and you're doing 50 miles an hour or 90 kilometers an hour, and it goes into the lock-up torque converter mode, and it's fine. But it's just in that speed zone around 40 miles per hour where it will lock up and disengage, and it doesn't know what to do, and I find that annoying. Otherwise, car ran perfectly. It ran fine. I've checked the oil consumption. The oil level is still at the full mark. No issues at all. I had the car up to 80 miles per hour. That's the fastest I've ever gone with this car. And that was about 125 kilometers per hour. I've never had it that fast before. And a little bit sketchy in my mind because the tires are old, and but you know, it drove well, it tracked straight, and it's a nice smooth ride. It rides like a Cadillac, what could I say? And very nice trip. The car makes it a nice road going car for highway driving. And you know, my thoughts about this car was, am I keeping it? Am I going to sell it? Am I going to sell it and buy an older Cadillac? I wasn't quite too sure, but after this trip, you know, this is a car I want to keep. I like this car. It's a great car for the highway and for taking trips, and there'll be other highway trips coming up. I hope you like this video. If you liked it, please subscribe and like my videos.